Taylor Fritz had a son when he was only 19 years old, and guess what? He had it with fellow American tennis player Raquel Pedraza. On other occasions, he's busy drawing crazy pictures on cameras and getting involved in crazy brawls with the tennis crowds. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the craziest things about Taylor Fritz? Taylor Fritz and fellow tennis player Raquel Pedraza exchanged vows on July 7, 2016 during a wedding ceremony held in Fritz's home state of California. Their engagement took place a month earlier, with Fritz proposing at the iconic Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. Taylor and Raquel were only 18 years old when they got married, and interestingly, in 2017, just a year after, little Jordan was born.
He's always wanted a boy, obviously.
Taylor Fritz and Raquel Pedraza surprised their fans in December 2019 when they announced their separation after approximately 3.5 years of marriage. Neither of them has provided any explanation for the split. Now, apart from setting his eyes upon beautiful and young female tennis players, Taylor Fritz is known for his crazy ventures on and off the court. Well, you don't have to go so far in history to find one, because it just recently happened at the 2023 Roland Garros, where it was Taylor against the French crowd, and things got heated quickly. In a delightful showdown in Paris, the hostile crowd did their best to push Rinderknecht across the line, but alas, the American Taylor Fritz dashed their hopes and left them in tears with a 2-6, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4 victory. Fritz had the pleasure of being serenaded by the lovely French national anthem from the vocal home crowd throughout the match, making him more and more joyful with each note. The chair umpire's futile attempts to hush the bloodthirsty partisan crowd only added to the dark comedy of the situation. But Fritz had the last laugh. As he secured his spot in the next round, he couldn't help but mock the boisterous fans with a shushing gesture, leading to an even louder symphony of boos from the stands. It was insane. But Fritz certainly knew how to make the most out of the situation. In the post-match interview, the witty American showed his appreciation for the Parisian supporters, proclaiming their great cheering was the key to his victory. He surely wanted to rub some salt all over their wounds. You know, a little insult to injury.
The crowd was just so great that I had to let it fire me up.
Though some sour tennis fans found the French crowd's behavior disgraceful and shameful, others knew it was all part of the darkly comedic theatrics. Fritz had every right to play along with the performance, adding a touch of dark humor to the otherwise ordinary tennis match. Well, he may have shushed the crowd, but on August 9th, after Taylor Fritz's defeat to James Duckworth in Toronto, the American tennis star addressed the concerning issue of receiving some serious online death threats from gamblers. During the match, Fritz experienced an unusual incident with his heart, causing him to consider withdrawing, but he continued despite the challenge, eventually losing 7-6, 6-3 to the Australian. Fritz took to Twitter to share his experience, explaining the bizarre situation and his decision to keep playing despite the medical concern. He bravely faced the death threats and abusive messages from gamblers with a defiant statement, asserting that he won't let their destructive actions affect him while he was playing a match. It was certainly a tough one for Taylor, but not long after, he was back at getting himself involved with the crowd. It seems like there's some serious bad blood between Fritz and the tennis crowds, no matter which tour he's playing in. One thing's for certain, he might be the apple of some beautiful girl's eye, but he's certainly not the favorite among the ones in the crowd. It happened again. This time it was the 2022 ATP Finals in Turin, where the American was battling it out against Novak Djokovic in the semifinal, when suddenly a shout from the crowd put him off mid-shot. With a lot at stake, the match was closely contested in the initial phase. Djokovic managed to secure the first set through a tiebreak, but Fritz appeared determined to make a comeback in the second set. The American youngster found himself 5-4 up in the second and was on the brink of leveling things against Djokovic. As Fritz approached the critical moment of potentially equalizing the match at 1-1, he was visibly disturbed during a crucial point while trying to mount a comeback. The interruption from the crowd caused him to lose the point, leaving Fritz bewildered, and he expressed his frustration by dropping his racket to the ground. Now, why did Taylor Fritz drop his racket after that crucial point?
You can hear that shout coming well before he hit the...
because he thought it was a mic drop moment, but it turned out to be a racket drop moment. The incident proved to be costly as Djokovic replicated his success in the first set, securing a second tiebreak and ultimately winning the match in straight sets 7-6, 7-6. While we talk a lot about his controversies with the crowd, what if we told you that the tennis world went berserk over a hilarious mix-up between Taylor Fritz and the American superstar Taylor Swift? In 2018, at the Boodle, Taylor Fritz and Juan Martín del Potro faced off in an exhibition match. The closely contested game resulted in del Potro's victory with a final score of 15-13 in a super tiebreak. Following the match, during the interview, there was an amusing mix-up when the interviewer mistakenly referred to Taylor Fritz as Taylor Swift.
So Taylor Swift, everybody, ladies and gents. Great to have you.
This incident sparked a frenzy among tennis fans worldwide, and they had plenty to say about the humorous blunder. The fans made the most out of the situation by saying someone was drinking champagne before leaving the interview, and another fan came up with a hilarious comment. I want him to sing a song. Now, what if we tell you that Mr. Fritz has some incredible art skills as well? Man's a genius. He's good at many things. Well, not so good actually. At the Australian Open 2023, Fritz faced off against Georgia's Nicolas Basilashvili. The American managed to pull out his A-game and beat the Georgian 6-4, 6-2, 4-6, 7-5 at John Cain Arena. But something hilarious happened right after this. Mr. Fritz, out of nowhere, right after his first round win, drew a questionable object on a camera, which was immediately spotted by many fans. However, Fritz, considering the consequences of his drawing, wasted no time in tweeting his explanation. For your information, I was trying to draw a padlock emoji. I just forgot the very important fact that I suck at drawing. Well, for all the fans jumping to conclusions, some hilarious comments were made. Lucky you're good at playing tennis, a fan commented. Another fan said, probably not the best word to describe your drawing skills. Taylor Fritz is also a strong advocate of players showing more of their personalities on the court to improve the appeal of the sport. According to Fritz, by expressing emotion on the court, players can attract more fans to the game, which is better for the game as a whole. He specially mentioned the passion Nick Kyrgios brings to the court and how his personality can be favorable for the sport. He thinks more expression will attract more kids to this beautiful sport. When we talk about his nature, the American #1 is probably one of the most stubborn players out there. According to Fritz's coach, Michael Russell, he's extremely stubborn. He revealed that Fritz was adamant at the 2022 Indian Wells. He was so determined to face Nadal in the final that he even ignored his ankle injury, which was giving him excruciating pain, and still stepped into the final, emerging victorious. Apart from being one tough cookie, Fritz is all for gay rights and being more open on this topic so that more players can be open about themselves. Not only Taylor Fritz likes to be around controversy, but his girlfriend Morgan Riddle stirred some controversy when she indicated that she had no interest in seeing Zendaya's movie Challengers, even though her boyfriend starred in the Netflix show Breakpoint. For those of you unaware, Morgan Riddle is a fashion influencer, and she even worked at Wimbledon this year hosting Wimbledon Threads, a lifestyle and fashion series for the 2-week Grand Slam tournament in London. And as usual, the fans never want to feel left out, you know. She's talking big smack for someone whose BF took part in Breakpoint, a fan tweeted. I know for a fact that she never watched tennis before she started dating Fritz, a fan commented. Although during his young days, Taylor liked sports like basketball and football, thanks to his parents, he decided to play tennis in the end, which resulted in a happy ending for him, especially after he broke into the top 10 ATP.